We are live.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to opening day for the New York Mets.
All right.
My name is Mark DeMayo. I am your host. This is Police Off the Cuff After Hours. My co-host, my partner in all things law enforcement, the very handsome Bill Canham is with me tonight. What's up, Bill?
What's going on, man? We got Dave Siev. Everyone's been telling me to get him for like a year and a half. I go, I don't even know who the hell this guy is. Why should I get him?
I know who he was. I knew who he was. I always pay attention to the Instagram. I pay attention to. I know you. I pay. George Zayas is a friend of mine on social media as well. Why don't we introduce our guest, Bill? I'm gonna. I'll do the honors. He's a retired NYPD Lieutenant with 28 years of service. He's the director of the NYPD boxing team. He was a really great amateur boxer in his own right. And he's joining us tonight. He's going to talk about the boxing program, how we, what the positive things that he's doing. How are you, buddy?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy. Bill, how long you been off the job that you don't know me?
I've been off 9 years.
Oh man, that's a shame. Actually, I kind of blew up probably in the last 9 years. It took you to get off the job for me to.
I heard of you, but I didn't. When people mentioned your name at first, I didn't know who you were. And when I looked you up and I saw with Pat Russo you were involved and Tommy Dades and all those guys you were involved in the boxing team, then
right.
I was like, this guy's pretty cool.
Oh.
Yeah, I always saw you with George in the pictures,
right?
And your face just became because, like I mentioned, I'm friends with George on social media. I remember him, bumping into him here and there, and I always saw your face, and then this is great though.
Hey, where'd you get that Riddler outfit there?
Hey, listen, that actually is probably our. It's become our new most favorite show. We were doing 4 shows a year, of course, because of COVID. We can't. But we started doing Halloween smokers at the Resorts Casino. Uh-huh. And what we do is, besides it being a boxing show, it becomes one big Halloween party. And the last 2 years, we even had the fighters dress up in costumes. So it's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dave, tell our fans what a smoker is in regards to the NYPD.
Smoker,
I don't think we know.
All right, a smoker comes from it's an unsanctioned boxing match. It comes from the name comes from way back in the day of Prohibition, where they had these speakeasies and you had to have a password to get into the door so you could drink. But they started doing boxing shows there. They're basically like illegal boxing shows. And you come in there and this guy fights that guy and it's all under the cuff. It's down under and people are smoking cigars. It's a smoker, So what we did is for years, I was actually I was like the most wanted from USA Boxing. They're the governing organization, and we did smokers. And basically our fights, they don't conform with USA Boxing sanction regulations. At first, because their cutoff age was 34. So technically in USA Boxing, a 34-year-old couldn't fight a 35-year-old, and I'm dealing with cops. So I'm dealing with, much differences in age. And then we used bigger gloves because we didn't want these guys getting hurt. They had to go to work tomorrow. So that was against USA regulation. And then we also had weight disparities. If you have a grudge match with somebody, we take that. And just because the guy weighs 20 pounds, 30 pounds more than you, we don't care. We're going to settle that grudge. You know what I'm saying? So for a long time, I was like the enemy. I was like the public enemy of UFC boxing.
What do you mean grudge? Explain it to our audience. What is a grudge?
Right. So here's a grudge match. A grudge match, this is what we are famous for. So a grudge match is technically, this guy here don't like another guy there, in the command, you have arguments and something. So we don't want people going to the locker room. We don't want them fighting in the garage. We don't want them going to the roof. We just want people to settle it and to settle it for charity. So oftentimes we have what's called the grudge match. And then what happens is it became so much fun that it's any two people that are calling each other out or they're in the same command, we make it a grudge match because that heightens the intensity and, the whole command comes out. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of
So
fun.
basically, you have somebody that works in one precinct, a police precinct, and then for some reason, maybe it's an adjoining precinct and it was over a collar or something, whatever, something happened. He just doesn't like this guy's face in the other precinct. He'll challenge him.
It's usually in the same precinct. It's usually in the same.
Oh, really? You can
Yeah,
have them in the same precinct. That's got to be something.
Yeah, I tell you, one of the best grudges I had was a sergeant who called out a cop. You know, I had a sergeant call out a cop. It was in the was it a 3-2 at the time? It was a 2-5. I don't know where it was, but it was in Uptown Command. It was in a Harlem Command, and the sergeant didn't like this rookie, and he didn't like the rookie in the impact. He said, "This guy's giving me lip all the time." So right in front of roll call, as he's giving roll call, he goes, "Hey, I hear there's a smoker coming up. They take grudge matches, and you know what? I don't know the guy's name. If I do, I won't say it. It's Charlie. I'll fight you. I'll fight you in the smoker." So the guy had no fear. The cop really thought that he didn't like the sergeant either. He goes, "I'll fight you anywhere. I'll fight you in the back. I'll fight you in the front. I'll fight." And it was a great smoker, and the whole precinct was there. It's really good for morale. I don't believe the higher echelon of the job, they really don't like it because it's you're putting bad things on the NYPD. Oh, we have fights. Like, oh my God, we have fights. Like,
Dave, we should have challenged the whole dais of the Comstat to a fight.
Every job should have that, by the way.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. And also, I was just surprised that it happened. I always thought it was like precinct versus precinct for whatever reason. But the fact that it's in the same command is very, very interesting.
Right. I tell you what, we had another good grudge. This was actually...
Oh, who won that fight?
Who won the fight? The sergeant won. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I made sure to referee that one because I knew it was going to be some nonsense. I knew it was going to be craziness. So I said, I'm going to referee it because I don't want anybody stopping the fight, because I knew things were going to get crazy. You got to be able to read your cops, right? You can read people, right? When you go to the boxing world, it gets even better. You could see the fight in somebody a lot better. You could see the craziness.
Does Sergeant have boxing experience?
No. As a matter of fact, it was the funniest thing because I told him when the fight was. I still remember the date. It was November 1st, but it was November 1st, I think 2000. I want to say 7. It might have been 2006, but I think 2006. He was coming back from the Dominican Republic, and he says, "I'll be there. I'll come straight from the airport, and I'll kick this guy's ass." And he did. He came straight from the airport from the Dominican Republic, and he got in the ring. He put on his gloves, and he beat the guy up.
Hey, I was watching this thing on Vice. And it was about the NYPD boxing smokers.
Oh, right.
And it was a great episode on the Vice channel. It really spells it all out. But one of the things that I found interesting was that, you have what is the time frame between the time that a smoker's in now? Because these guys were training. And a lot of them have no boxing experience, but they start training for this particular smoker.
Right, and this is something that I've told boxers all the time. It's pretty funny, but when you don't know how to box, so say Mark was going to fight Bill, and you guys say, "Oh, I'm going to train for it," and you do like a year of training. I guarantee you, since it's your first fight and it's first time in front of a crowd, and you're not really that versed in the game, even though you did a year of training, you'll get in the ring and you'll lose all composure. Right.
Yeah.
That being said, why not just do what it is? You got 4 to 6 weeks to train. That's all I give you. I don't want you training too much. I don't want you training because then it doesn't look like a smoker fight. I don't want you to be too good.
Yeah, you don't want the guys really.
You want guys wailing like they're the Notre Dame football team, right?
Exactly. It takes years to become that kind of fighter, and it takes experience. You have to go into the ring a few times. You have to spar. Nobody's got time for that. You know what people are happy with? They like a good fight. They understand what a good fight is, And if you're too good, like I put like actual guys on a boxing team with a couple of good fights in there, and the crowd was bored because they're posing, they're posturing, they're moving. Nobody wants to see that. They want to see this.
They want to see the blood and the sweat hitting the front row.
That's it. Yeah,
you bring up an interesting point here, because when you took on the boxing team, you're the director of the boxing team now.
Say that Patty Russo's the director. I'm the president.
Okay, you're the president. Okay,
Patty Russo loves the title director. He would get mad at me right now.
Okay, but when I don't know whether you both came on at the same time, but
no, I came on later than him.
There's Patty Russo.
Because I read in the bio. That's what the only reason why I'm mentioning it. But you guys were doing like 3 smokers a year, and then from when the two of you combined forces, you started traveling with the team. It became like a real boxing team. You would go to other countries.
It was probably in the opposite way. So before there was me, there was I don't know if you guys know Mike Emmett, and there was this guy Carl Schroeder. Carl Schroeder is a retired detective, and he's the one who started the team. That was a long time ago. He started the team with a couple other guys. But anyway, with Dan O'Leary, who was on the football team, and they started a team, and they traveled to Moscow. They traveled to Bulgaria. I went with them. They went to a few places, and then what happened is, like, I took over, and I realized somewhere in the mix between doing boxing shows is I realized that smokers were the best thing going on. Smokers are more fun because with the smoker, I can get a guy who's not a boxer, a guy or girl, and then with social media, I could amp it up with the beef, I filled Madison Square Garden with these 2 girls. They were these 2 girls that used to be partnered, and they had a beef with each other, and it's pretty funny because the roots were deep in this. I mean, they came out, they were rookies together, and apparently they did something to another girl's locker, and you know what you do, you get your story straight. Well, I'm gonna say this. Now you get geoed, and one of them ratted the other out. So the beef stemmed from there. They got bounced to different commands, and it stayed because, let's face it, women keep that anger. I'm being politically incorrect, but anybody who's been married understands this. So they kept the anger, and they called each other out to a smoker, and it was great. They were 2 not to put race in it, but they were 2 like regular white girls that you would know from, they like in your high school, you would just know them. Not one thing was masculine about either one of them. They were just two girls, and they hated each other. And we put the hashtag, "It's not about a guy," because everybody would say, "Hey, is it about a guy?" No, it's not about a guy. Let me tell you. And forget about it. Ever since then, we had a lot of women coming to the show, and girls really loved it. They were supporting
Dave, did you ever have like the Grudge become have the department get involved in the Grudge, like IAB, question any of the fighters?
I've been GO'd several times on different incidents because of fights, but no, not the Grudges. What I did have is I had we were gonna have 2 captains fight one time, and God rest his soul, Chief Morris got involved. He called the captain, and he didn't like those type of grudges. He felt it was against the God rest his soul, but he passed the COVID, but he didn't like that kind of stuff. And there were a lot of old fogey stogie people that don't like this. But when I'm talking about the morale of a command going through the roof, I mean, Mark, you ever had anybody involved in a grudge match in your command?
I don't recall it, but I remember hearing about them, and I remember hearing about like how much fun they were, and it seemed when I was on the job, it seemed a little bit almost like archaic, but then all of a sudden, and I'm sure it's when you and you guys took over. It seemed more professional. Like you guys put together a a show that you're in. Like you mentioned the TV station USA. I think, is that what you were talking about? But you guys were on TV. You were on ESPN all of a sudden.
We never did a show on ESPN, but we have been we've been to Madison Square Garden, the bar.
Yeah, well, Madison Square Garden. That's right. Where that's incredible.
No, we did some stuff, and it's good. I just I kind of feel sorry for the job right now, and it's not because I left. It's because I'll still do Smokers. It's because of the COVID situation. We really can't do a show, But when you come to our job, there's only two places you're going to meet so many people that you haven't met in a while, and that one is a funeral. Nobody really wants to go to that, but in a funeral, when somebody dies, you're going to meet a lot of people you haven't seen in years. But it's not a good racket. The Smokers, on the other hand, everybody comes to the Smokers, and everybody has a good time. And we serve drinks, by the way. They are not, we're not like mightier than thou. We believe in having a few drinks, and we got music going on. It's a good time. People are enjoying themselves.
That's great, Dave. We're gonna have to cut to commercial. Okay. All you guys, if you're looking to locate to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Carol Waters of the Beach Realty Group has been buying and selling property in the Myrtle Beach area for 11 years now. Carol and her husband, Rob Mahan, retired FDNY. He was also on the NYPD. They work as a team. Carol's been a multi-million-dollar producer for the past 10 years. They have great knowledge of all aspects of the real estate industry. Carol's well-known around the Irish community in New York. She worked in Fitzpatrick's Manhattan Hotel for over 20 years behind the stick, so I know most of you drinkers were there. Originally born in the Bronx and brought up in County Mayo, Ireland. Contact Carol Waters for all your real estate needs in the Myrtle Beach area. There's the Carol Waters Sells MB at gmail.com. Telephone number 914-261-6681. Everyone wants to flee the Northeast to Myrtle Beach. Give Carol Waters a call.
I'm calling it, Bill.
You're going to call it?
We're done tonight. We're going to get out of here. I live in the Bronx.
I think a lot of people...
I saw. I did a little research on you, Dave, and I saw an interview that you did with Brooklyn 12 News. And I live in the Bronx. We have because the thing about Brooklyn is it's very positive. They did a really good story with you about the boxing and all the things that you're doing. The Bronx 12 News, though, there's never ever anything positive. It's 58 minutes of homicides. Them covering all the, and then there's like 2 minutes of sports, and sometimes they don't get to the sports.
Wow!
Even the weather's shady.
Wow!
You guys like, hey, how's it looking out there, Bob? Well, Dick, it's muggy with a chance of murder. That's what the Bronx 12 News looks like.
Oh my God! I tell you, I started doing Smokers in 1996 with Pat Russo, and we've been together ever since. And I did a Smoker. There was a guy who had cancer in my command, and we did a fundraiser for him, and it was fun. And I haven't stopped since 1998. It took the world to come to an end for me not to do a Smoker in the year. Basically with this COVID. But having Pat Russo with me really helped things out, because Patty is dedicated to the kids of New York City. New York City. So the Smoker money, it's good because we have a channel for it. It goes right into the Cops and Kids boxing program. So now, like we don't keep none of it. We've given money to MOS. We've given money to charities. We've given money to mostly this program. And this Cops and Kids program, we have 3 gyms right now. Eventually, before I die, I'd like to have it at one gym in each borough. We have 2 in Staten Island. That's because Staten Island is very friendly to boxing and the police, and they
got to come to Queens, man, and you got to come to the Bronx.
We would love it. What we need is a place. We need a place rent free.
We had Pat on the show.
Yeah,
and he was talking about how the space that he has now, and obviously you mentioned the COVID. But They were building it up and they were fixing up. It's an amazing thing that you guys are doing. But and we'd love to help you out any way that we possibly can. I always talk about the PAL. I know that for some reason the PAL cut off the boxing years ago. I don't understand that. I remember growing up, I used to box at that's where I learned was it wasn't a PA, it was the Lost Battalion Hall on Queens Boulevard.
On Queens Boulevard, yeah.
Artie was my trainer. You know what he told me one time? Because
the ex-cab driver?
He's the black Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
You know what he told me one time? Because I was big. I was a bodybuilder. I was a competitive bodybuilder, and I went in there to learn to box. And so there wasn't that many super heavyweights.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was over 225.
Wow.
I was 250, 260. So I always used to tell him, I want to spar. I want to spar. He goes, hey, just go hit the bag. And then one day when everybody was getting ready for the gloves, they needed super heavyweights to spar with whoever was competing in the super heavyweight division. And I didn't know shit. Like I just started sparring. And they used to send me to all these freaking places. Like I would go to like Gleason's to fight somebody I never saw in my life.
Oh my God.
The Michael Elajade's place in Manhattan. And then I came, and one day I came, he goes, I need you to do a couple of rounds with this guy. I was like, I can't, my nose hurts. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He goes, why don't you go back to the weights? They don't hit your back.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he got pissed at me. So I was like,
wow.
You know what? I said, okay, good. I'm doing it. Let's go. I got so pissed that he said that to me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I tell you, boxing's interesting. I mean, I just love it for so many reasons, but it humbles you. You know, like I boxed for a number of years. I got my butt kicked by a lot of people, you know, and I kicked a little bit, but you know, for the most part, I knew where I stood. I was not a great athlete. No matter how much work I did, I just couldn't get the feel of some guys. They walk in off the street and they do it natural. You know, you're throwing punches at them, they're slipping.
Where did you grow up?
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in South Queens, South Ocean Park. You know,
so which gym did you go to when you
I went
first
to Queens Boys Club when I was growing up.
Okay.
On Atlantic Avenue and 111th Street.
Okay.
So I was.
Yeah, that's a pretty mixed up gym in there.
Yeah, no, that was good. They had some real people and guys like David Sears and there was a couple guys that came from Lost Battalion Hall that were trained there back and forth, and some guys from Bed-Stuy. You know, it was a lot of pros came through there too. You know, so it was good. So like I'm saying, like I'd come in, and what's good about boxing is that, like, as you found out the hard way, even if you're not that good, you're still a body. You still serve as a moving target for somebody who can box. You know,
surprised how quick you can learn.
Yeah.
Learn quick.
Pain is a good teacher. You know,
I remember this one guy. You know, because when you spar, people don't realize this, but you know, I go in with what I want to work on, and you go in with what you're going to work on, and you know, I was new. I was just going in there to, I was working on surviving. And this guy that I was in sparring with, he was working on a left hook to the body and a left hook to the head. And for some reason, I could not stop him. It was like over a minute of just him doing the same thing, coming in, left hook to the body, left hook to the head. And he kept getting, you know, he was good. He was fast. Yeah. And I couldn't, you got to figure out how to stop it. I did. I cried and I said, please, I want to stop. Can you help me? No,
it's you know, like that's one of the great things about boxing is that you want to gain control over your own reflexes, you know, and over your fears, you know, and your natural reactions, and it's very hard to do. It takes time. That's why, like, the smokers are fun, because usually if a guy fights in a smoker or a girl fights in a smoker, that's going to be their last time ever boxing. It's usually one and done, but it's a great feeling. You're in front of thousands of people. People are screaming your name. People are talking about it for the next months. If you do bad, they're drawing outlines of your body in front of your locker. You know, you know,
Cops are some of the funniest people, right?
Oh my God, I love them. I love them, and it's a great thing, you know, and it's good for morale, and it's you know. And by the way, our program, our Cops and Kids boxing program, it's no joke. We're set, you know, in the last 2 Olympics, we've sent two boxers to the Olympics, and that's saying something. You know, one was #1 in the country, the other one was #2 in the country, so he went for Haiti. But just because you represent a country, it's not like like you automatically get in. You still have to qualify for the Olympics. You know, they don't send in like 100 countries. They only send in like 8 people. And to qualify to the Olympics is unbelievable. 8 or 16, you know, in your category. So we had that, and we're going to have somebody else too. I mean, you know, knock on wood. Hopefully he gets enough points to go to Olympics. But he's #1 in the United States. His name is Bruce Carrington. His nickname is Shoo Shoo. And so for a little police boxing program, in the last 3 Olympics, including this one coming up, we got 3 candidates for the Olympics. Like nobody has that, you know, around the world.
You know, Dave, it's so important what you guys do, especially with how the police department is being attacked at every possible direction. And to show that cops are doing this for kids, inner city kids all over the city, it's just a feather in your cap. It really is. And it's great for the police department.
No, it is.
You guys post are amazing. When I look at the pictures of the kids that are coming through that program, and I see the face, you're looking at somebody who, you know, just did something great or is on the verge of something great, and it's amazing. You could tell by just because your Instagram, you're always posting pictures of the fighters that you have there.
Yeah. Not only that, we have guys that have become cops. Some of our cops, you know, they started. They didn't know anything about being a police officer, but they started in our Cops and Kids program, and now they're police officers. You know, Joel Allen, who I believe you could see right there. He should be the one next to me. Is one of my cops that came through the program, and he worked with me for the last 8 years of my career. You know, he worked in Brooklyn North with me. But not only that, we have a lot of kids that wouldn't have made it to high school. They make it to high school, you know, because they learn some discipline, and then we also have a tutor there. They make it to college. Some have become firemen. Some have become they went into the service. They, you know, became Army or Navy, and you know, stuff like that. Done the service. Some have become police officers, and you know, the three that are, you know, that Olympians that's a great thing, but that's just a small piece of the puzzle. The thing, and then you have cops training for smokers. Where do we bring them? We bring them right into the hood. You know, we bring them into the hood, and they're training with these kids. So now you have these kids that, you know, you might look and say, nah, I don't like the way the kid looks. Now this kid's helping you train for a boxing match, and you know, he's not killing you, and you realize he can. You know,
that's great.
And we work with them, It's
Melody McAtee, thank you so much for the 1999 super sticker. Rob S., thank you for the $5 super sticker. You keep Mark and I going with this podcast, which is over 2 years old now. You know, we get great guests like Dave Siev here. That's, you know, when he heard we were putting him on the show, I think he was going to put a suit on, but then he thought better of it.
You know what? I started wearing this. I said, let me dress up for one of these things, and the more, you know, it was gradual. I started dressing up more and more. After a while, people wanted to, you know, they wanted.
Dave, look at that. There's a serious CEO of Kids in Boxing. Look at that. That's some picture you got there, right?
You know, you bring up the dressing up, and one of the things that's interesting is that, you know, you guys put on a show. You're not just. It could be boring, but it's not. Because, you know, you, Pat, and, you know, and George, you guys are doing these things with the social media that relate to a younger crowd, and you're making it fun. You know, even if, like you mentioned, the Halloween thing, but getting dressed up, and also you're an incredible instigator. Like you go to these commands, you find the guy who's supposed to be in the smoker. And then you start asking him like these questions, like, what are you going to do to him? This, that, the other. You instigate the fight. You make it worse than it probably would have been.
Mark, are you ready to do your commercial?
Well, let's see what Dave has to say about. Okay, I'll do it. But
Do the commercial.
Listen up, guys and gals. We are sponsored by the best hot sauce in the world. Silk City hot sauce is made with small batches with pure ingredients. Locally grown peppers are the foundation of every bottle of Silk City hot sauce. They have a lot of great flavors and amazing labels, original artwork, and I'm killing it, man. I finished not only my stash, but the stash that was supposed to go to Bill. We have.
Yeah, he stole mine.
Yeah, I ate yours. I almost finished yours. So we owe you some more. But if you want to get some Silk City hot sauce, and trust me, it's really good. I'm on a bland diet. I lost 12 pounds. I'm looking great right now, if you haven't noticed. Go to silkcityhotsauce.com, silkcityhotsauce.com. And if you put in the coupon code of OTC for off the cuff, OTC, you'll get a 15% discount. The bottles are only like $5.99, like that. You get for like 4 bottles for $20. You're hooked up for a month at least. Trust me. You'll enjoy it. I wouldn't lie to you.
Very well done. You know, Dave, I also noticed, and a great little article was written about you by Bob Mladanich, who's a friend of ours, called The Sweet Science. And it was written 16 years ago, I think, because you were 40 years old then when he wrote this article. And I know you're 56 now. I didn't mean to out you to the women here, but you're 50. I'm older than you, so you're 56. Anyway, you were a good cop too. You were a recipient of the Combat Cross, isn't that correct?
Yeah. You know what? I kind of thought you guys were going to ask me, and I know there's probably some people who don't believe me, so I went and I saw that I had it. So here it is. Yeah, that's legit.
Wow, that's an amazing thing.
So yeah,
I would wear that out to bars if I were you.
Yeah, I got a friend of mine who's got a Combat Cross, and he's a motorcycle guy. He wears it with like this, like a dog chain or something like that. he's big, he's scary, you know. Now I actually did police work back in the day. That you know, I did police work. I have strong feelings about police work. You know, I think you know, there's so many things to say about police work, but the thing about it is, I'm gonna say there was Cannon. You're Irish, right?
Yeah.
Right. When I used to work UPS, there was an Irish guy who told me about work, and there were 2 Irish guys, but one guy was like, "Hey, listen, they're gonna pay you whatever they pay you, and you know, don't worry about it. They have to pay you whether you work as hard as you can or you work as soft as you can, you know." And he was always getting bothered by the bosses because he worked softly, you know. Then there was another Irish guy who I really liked, and this guy just worked hard. And I was like, Mike, you always work so hard. He goes, they pay you. He goes, you're a man. That's an agreement you take. You take a check and you agree to do the work. You know, if you agree to do the work, then do your work. And I've always, you know, I was basically like a teenager working in UPS. I was loading trucks. It was incredibly hard, and I worked, but I always kept that work ethic. And I believe the same thing of cops. You know, like you come, you take a paycheck, you swore an oath, you're gonna protect society. You do your job, do whatever it is. And so I feel that cops, you know, in general, do their job. I don't feel the same way about the bosses, the higher up bosses, you know, who don't do their job. They kind of say it, you know. So especially I did most of my time as lieutenant. I did 17 years as lieutenant, and I was very big on not asking somebody to do anything I won't do. So if you're writing summonses, you know, I'm telling you, you got to write some summonses. I'll get in that car with you. You know, I'll bring out, you know, we'll write some summonses, making collars, whatever we got to do, doing verticals. Even a few years back, they used to have this CRV where you stand out on foot posts and everything. So my big thing is, and this is to all you bosses out there. If there are any bosses listening, if you're the kind of schmuck that rolls down your window a little bit, you know, not to lose your air conditioning or the heat, and takes that memo book and scratches and passes it out, you're an asshole. All right, get the hell out of your car and stand post with the guy for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like like stand posts with them. Show them that you've done this too. You're out there. Check for the well-being of your people, and talk to them a little bit. Give them some input on what they got to do, what their mission is, who they are, what they're about. That somebody actually gives a damn about them. So I had a reputation for, like, when I actually did the post, I come out.
Dave, I was a sergeant for 22 years, and I know that you know Lee Pachter, right?
Oh yeah.
Lee Pachter, and I said this joke a million times. He had the funniest joke. He used to say, "You know why I'm not a chief?" And I'd say, "Why, Lee?" He goes, "That damn sergeant's test." and for me, it was the damn lieutenant's test. That's why I was a sergeant for 22 years.
Oh my God, yeah. I like Lee. Lee's son. Lisa, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on his name. I think it's Jay. But his son boxed with me. We went to Ireland a couple times. So his son boxed with me. And good looking kid.
Joey Cintron was one of my anti-crime cops. He great guy.
Oh yeah,
I love Joey. I just spoke to him the other day on the phone. But he was in such great shape. He could, he was a follow guy in anti-crime, because he didn't look like a cop, so he could chase them because he was in great shape.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I think it helps. Like, I'm not saying like you got to go out there and be able to punch or something, but you should. One thing about boxing is, like, how to take a punch in the face. You've been in you don't necessarily have to have street fights, but if you've been punched in the face a few times and you can handle yourself, you're not going to die. All right, I got hit in the face. It kind of helps you. It kind of helps your bearing as a person and as a police officer. I honestly think that jiu-jitsu is a better thing for police officers, because they can physically grab and handle. I think that's better. But I think cops should know how to fight a little bit, and I think bosses should get out and be with their men and women and show them that they're willing to do the same thing.
I think that's what the fire department has over us, is that their bosses go in first, and that's a trait that I think all good bosses should have, that, like you say, you'll do anything. I did 6.5 years in anti-crime, street crime, anti-crime, and and 3.5 of that was as a sergeant, and the cops knew I would do every single thing that they did, and without questions asked.
I remember being on a post. I think it was after 9/11, but it was probably like 3 or 4 months after 9/11. Like 9/11 was, it was done.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we're by like the Jacob Javits Center, and we're all inside watching TV, and whoever was the sergeant that they gave us, I was in the warrant squad, he raised us. So he came out. Now we're battling this cold to get all the way to his car, and I give him my book. He goes, he said to me, he goes, no, I didn't want to scratch you. I just wanted to see where you were. So then I go, you better scratch me now, because you're not going to find me later. You freaking kidding me right now?
Oh my God!
We're in the middle of watching TV inside. You dragged me outside for this?
I thought he was going to feel your memo book and say, "You haven't been outside. This is a warm memo book."
Kidding me right now? What are we doing? Playing games? There's nothing. There's not one person. It was just like now.
Right.
Whatever that is, 11th Avenue or West Side Highway, wherever that freaking Jacob Javits Center is.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold.
No, there was not a person outside. There was no reason for us.
That's right. It's right by the highway. Yeah, it's by the way.
They broke us down, like, and 2 hours later, to send us back to where we were. It's listen, you know what I'm talking about. It's like they want to play games. I'm not playing. All right, whatever.
Polio 2112, thank you for that $5 super chat. Well, Peter Pranzo and Richella Pranzo, two of our biggest fans, Lieutenant Pete and the Harlem Raiders, Ronald McCall, Sandra Rivera, Larry Bennett, Armando Rodriguez. Look at all these great people here. Mimi J2, Larry Bennett again, Robert Oviedo, Princess Mitch, Marcello Cello Hernandez, Mimi J2, Luis Martinez. I'm trying to get Melody McAtee. Thank you so much for the 1999 super chat. And New York City Cops and Kids Boxing, and that's Pat Russo. Thank you so much, Pat, for all you do. Thank you for contacting Dave for me. I didn't have his number on my phone, but He seems like he's a great guest and a great guy.
Yeah, a couple of things here. Tell us what a trip going overseas for the boxing team is like, just for
all right. Well, you know what?
Or for a civilian, what is that experience like?
I'm glad you mentioned it because that's going to segue into this. But first, let me say, Ron McCall, me and him came on together. He's a deputy inspector now, and he's a 3-time Golden Gloves champion in 3 different weight classes. And he's from Bed-Stuy. He grew up in the Tompkins houses. Forgive me if I got the wrong houses. All those projects look like, I don't know. But he's from Brooklyn. He grew up in there. He's just a smart man, and he's a big part of our team. And Louis Martinez, that's Bugsy. His ears are like this, so they call him Bugsy. He's a great boxer, and he's in the police academy. He made the sergeant's list. He's like, these are people that I've known for, Patty. I've known these people for like 20 years. They're near and dear to me. So let me segue into what you just said right now, because not last year because of COVID, but the year before, I wanted to answer that question. So I did my first ever destination smoker. So basically, I took 125 people, count them, go like this 25 times, and you will have 125. And that's how many people went with me on a trip to Barbados. And we did a destination smoker. We had a ring built for us, and we fought some Bayesian. We call them Bayesian, not Barbados. So they fought some cops, and I knew some guys from LA. They also came out there, and they fought in the smoker, and a couple guys fought each other, and we had a smoker there. I brought 125 people with us, and it was for $1,000. You got all the food you could eat, all free drinks, free food. You got the smoker. And it was a hotel with the pool. So 125 of us came there, and they enjoyed the heck out of it.
How many days was it?
It was, we got there on a Thursday. We left on a Thursday morning, very early in the morning, got there Thursday, like around noonish. And Sunday. We left on Sunday. We fought on Friday.
You were going to say you left on Friday morning.
No.
You did smoke Thursday night for $1,000. You left on Sunday. That's a good weekend.
Yeah, no, it was good. And I got it, I got a good group deal. I got it for $1,000. And I'm actually, next month, I'm going to Colombia. And I'm going to scout it out. If I can do a destination smoke in Colombia, we might do it in July or August this year. But I'm going to set up the trip. Same type, same press. I'm going to bring, since I'm planning in advance, I might be able to bring a couple hundred people. But, it's going to be the same thing. We're going to set up a smoker down there. We're going to have people come, and it's a lot of fun. So,
what about the guys on the boxing team, though, that they get to go abroad?
Well, I've been everywhere. I've been to Vancouver, Canada. I've been to Nicaragua. I've been to Bulgaria. Before I was on the team, they went to Russia. We will never go to Russia because those Russians are serious about boxing, and their boxers are legitimate, like army specialists who train boxing, and they're world class. And they're like Olympic level. We're not going to box them.
They beat up Americans.
Yeah, they anybody.
Hey, Dave, Inspector Ron Schindel said to say hello to you.
That's comrade that was my CO in Brooklyn North Task Force.
Brooklyn North Task Force, yeah, and he's now he's an inspector now with the Port Authority.
Oh, he went to the Port Authority. Okay, yeah. I know he went to big business and he was over there, but
now he's inspector on the Port Authority. His son just made it to the States in wrestling. His son's a really good wrestler from Long Island School. Yeah,
it's a small world. I love these people. Ronnie Schindel was my man over there back in the day.
Great guy, man. He's a big fan of Police Off the Cuff. That's how I got to meet him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, shout out to Duty Ron. He's on.
What's up, Duty Ron?
That's awesome. So if you're on a team, basically, I get you fights, and we've been everywhere.
But Dave, am I too old to fight?
No, you're actually not too old to fight. I will get you somebody.
You're gonna get me some old bastard to fight from Ireland.
We would make fun of you on the broadcast. Saying, all right, Bill's putting down his cane. No, he's trying to fight with it.
I have a new left hip. I'm beat up. I'm beat up from the job.
Listen, a guy like you, forget about it. We would get you a fight. We fight.
if anybody's never, for the people that have never seen the videos, when you show up at the precinct, obviously the guy who's going to fight has to be working that tour. Do they know that you're coming though?
All right. So this is one of the things that the job hit me on the ass on the way out. They threw charges at me and everything. It was a little bittersweet over there, but the memories are good. Like when I used to come into a precinct, I used to find out when these guys' tours were. I pretty much know their work, and I call the desk officer. Maybe I'll text them, and I come in. When I came into a precinct, everybody knew what I was there for. They knew I was going to take out the phone. I'm going to do a video. A lot of times platoon commanders and sergeants would try to bring people in. The club would get ready. They're trying to sell their T-shirts. It was a good time. And basically when I came in, they're like, "Oh, it's on. It's for real." And that I don't know how many times to say. They're like, "Oh man, Smoker Talk's here. It's on." So until I come there, it's just a rumor. It's just a rumor that these guys are going to fight or these girls. But when I come there, the Smoker Talking, then it's on, it's popping, it's good. The command is going to have a good time. They're going to come out to the fights. It's an exciting thing, and I know
someone put something not funny. Someone wrote Bill versus Larry Storch. That is pretty funny.
Yeah, that's great. But you know what though, you have a knack for it. That's my point. What I'm getting at is that you have a knack for instigating. You have a knack for showing up and really making the fight a big deal. And I'm sure that you could take that to all levels. It's not something that somebody has. I mean, it's a talent.
Well, thank you, but I don't know how good that'll look on my resume that I'm instigating fights.
That's what a fight promoter does.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You should take it to the private sector. They probably want to beat the shit out of each other.
We actually are. Pat Russo, myself, George, and a couple other people. We're gonna go into Ryan O'Leary from like the Mount Vernon area, and it's in Mount Vernon. Well, it's upstate. He says it's not upstate, just north of the Bronx. And Felipe, is it Felipe Gomez? It's Felipe. He's a retired sergeant as well. Great boxer. So we're gonna do some promoting, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be small at first, but hopefully it'll be bigger on. Be big later on.
At the end of the day, any one of these kids that comes out of the program, if they don't wind up becoming a cop, if they actually have the talent or they have the desire to go into professional boxing, it would be great if they can align themselves with somebody who started with them, who's going to guide their career in the right way, who's not looking to rip them off. Because there's so much of that going on.
Everywhere.
Getting to that level. But if they could align themselves with you all the way through the whole, at some point they're going to have to dump you off. It's going to happen until you get to, Oscar De La Hoya level. But until then, you could manage these boxers, you know what I'm saying, get them into the pro ranks and get them fights.
We're hoping, it's a little bit of a slippery slope because you don't want to say like you're pushing people into turning pro, So we just, I think what's good about cops and kids, especially somebody like Patty, you never want to see Patty Russo come into a gym, how he gets surrounded. Like these kids come to him, they're like, "Patty, Patty, Patty," and they might as well be saying, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," because that's what it is. So when Patty Russo comes in there, it's a great thing. I dealt mostly with the cops. So with the cops, I was like coming into the precinct. I was like, "Uh-oh, Smoker Talk's here. Smoker Talk's here," and and I would take pictures with everybody. It was a lot of fun. But we do want to help these kids. So like we got a kid. Jamal Spence, he's not a kid anymore. He just turned 40. I've known Jamal for 18 years, and before that, he was in PAL before they stopped boxing. And what happened, how he got involved with us was he actually got arrested for fighting in the street as a kid. A juvenile arrest. No big deal. So he gets arrested, and he's talking to the detective, and detectives, doing the paperwork. And the detective's talking to him, and he says, "Wow, this guy's pretty cool," because cops are cool. When you sit and talk to us, we're pretty cool. We get, nobody cares about anything. We'll talk to you. And the kid's like, so the guy tells her, he goes, kid, if you want to fight, go to the PAL. They got places for people like you. And he met up with Pat Russo. He got into the PAL, and then he became he came on the job. And right from the academy, he was in my gym working out with me. Now he's a first grade detective. He's put his life on the line.
That's because he knocked out all the other detectives that were ahead of him.
Yeah, that might be what it is. But he was in gang for 15 years. He was the top undercover, bought a lot of guns and drugs, put his life on the line, and really, really, really interesting. And I got a zillion stories like that. So the kids do well just because, when the cops come in there and they have somebody to talk to and they get asked some questions and stuff, it's pretty good,
Hey, you guys are doing God's work, man. And, there's that's one of the ways when they talk about criminal justice reform, I think that's one of the ways I do agree with that they can make a difference. And there's putting money into the youth, what you guys are doing,
Yeah, I mean,
and up in, the 3-4 precinct has the Michael Busek Little League, which they've had a lot.
Johnny Moynihan started that.
Yeah, they've had a lot of success stories through that also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, you got the New York City Kids in Boxing, which is a fantastic thing.
Pat was on the show, and Pat told us about how the kids come there and they can do their homework and they can exercise, and it's no pressure. Some of the kids wind up getting involved in boxing, and some of them wind up hitting the bag for a little bit, but making new friends. That's a beautiful thing, and that's the more of those programs are needed, especially when it deals with the popo, because we all know that the PAL is like, God forbid, if you get stopped for something, I know, so I play for so and so, Yeah, it was those little things.
It helps.
Family, you pull them up.
No, it does. It's such a good thing. As a matter of fact, I was the PAL lieutenant because Patty talked me out of going into. So I went from I was in the firearms investigation unit, which I had undercovers buying guns and all these gun investigations. So I went from there to the PAL to be the PAL lieutenant. Of course, when I got there, a new guy took over, and that's when he decided, I'm not gonna do boxing anymore. But I got a quick story. What's the famous pizza shop over there in the Bronx? The most famous one. It's like, is it Frankie and Johnny's or something like that?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Right. It's So I did a program over there. It was pretty funny. They didn't have the PAL gym was Webster's, so it wasn't close to there, but they were having fights in the park, and it was allegedly the Blood and Crips. Like the Blood and Crips are not really in New York; they're in California. But these kids were fighting over it. So I started a boxing program. I got a local boxing gym to give like free slots to these kids. So we were going to have all the Bloods versus the Crip. We were going to do a smoker. We're going to do a fight. This is back in I'm talking about 2007 where I could kind of still get away with these things, and plus I didn't really answer to anybody. I was kind of like a lone ranger. So I went to the Bronx. So we were going to get these kids to fight each other. So to train, we got about 12 or 15 of them to go to the gym, so that they went to the gym. Some of them got their butts kicked right away. Some of them they couldn't handle it because it was discipline, and they were smoking weed, and they were just getting beat up. And 3 of them stayed with the program. But it was funny because they went to the program every day. Some sharp detectives, took their complainants there, and they solved the Frankie and Johnny's things that were getting robbed. They pointed out the kids, so cleaned it up. So I got credit for cleaning up that area of the Bronx. I think it was the 4-9 or something like that. But most likely it started with the 4. But it was a good boxing program. And you don't get that. You don't get that.
Dave, how many years you've been off the job now?
I've been off since November of 2019 . So a year and a half.
You're a rookie in the retirement game.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait,
put me in my place.
The time that goes by, the more you feel like a civilian. Like you'll get to a point where you get pulled over. You're like getting actually nervous. Like, I don't know.
I used to be on this job. Hey, Ron Schindel says Dave's work with boxing is phenomenal, but he was also a very good street cop and an excellent disorder control warrior. And he said, Dave, thanks for the $50 super chat you gave me. For Ron to say that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Wait a minute. I'm getting set up for something here. I don't know. Like Ronnie Shindell. Yeah, that was back in the day. I was at the we had a couple of good riots with Ronnie Shindell. We had this construction workers. I've never seen anything like it. There was something like 40,000 of them, and they were mad at the transit authority because they hired what do you call it, scabs, like non-union workers, and they went crazy. These guys were like construction workers. They were all blue collar guys, and they were very respectful, but they were big, strong guys, and they got a little excited. They were throwing some people around, and they were great. I mean, like we arrested some of them. They're like plumbers. They're big. They had a black eye. They come up to you. Sorry, officer. You had to do that. I was like, that wasn't me. It's somebody else. And like
old-fashioned protest right there.
Yeah, it was great. And then we were also at the Biggie Smalls funeral, in Brooklyn, and that went crazy. That was crazy.
Every breath you take, every move you make.
What was that like?
And he did a rap tune to that.
Because I watched that video of the body being driven through the Bronx, through Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, yeah, that was crazy.
It's what happened? Like a bunch of documentaries on Netflix right now, but what was that like?
What it was we were staying there, and like the funeral procession. You know how you pass by the house of where the kid grew up.
Yeah.
So you have that going on. So it's on St. James and Fulton. So we're waiting there, and they come like, nobody's gonna come on time. It's a funeral, right? If the guy's late to his own funeral, like nobody's coming on time. So by the time the procession gets there, first of all, we start. We have barricades, holding the crowd back, like onto the sidewalk. But as the time goes, there's more and more people coming out. By the time there were thousands, there must have been tens of thousands of people out there, and they're pushing and everything, and it's going crazy. And now we're trying to adjust the barricades. We got the orange, the orange mesh that couldn't hold back. That couldn't hold back, like your grandmother. It couldn't.
Why?
But they're trying to establish lines. And now here comes it wasn't P. Diddy back then, it was Puff Daddy and Little Kim and all these rappers, and they come through the crowd, and now they could barely drive through the crowd, and like and they're amping up the crowd, everybody's going. Now the crowd is pretty much through the barricades. The street is full, the police have lost all control, and like the orange mesh is added to the exacerbations because now people were stomping on it, Then there's a record shop, and they play Hypnotize. They play one of his songs. The place all starts dancing, right? But this is the hood. You're not just dancing. People start jumping on cars and they're stomping them down. And I'm watching. I'm just like, oh my goodness. I'm seeing cars like when standing up. I'm not that tall, so here's a car here, and it's going down, right? And you're like, all right, it's about to go. What's gonna happen? And I'm pretty much like, you're ready for the fight, but you don't know where it's coming and what's happening. Sure enough, scuffles start breaking out, bottles start coming. You're trying to duck bottles. It's crazy. People are getting arrested.
No shots fired.
Did they?
No, never.
They didn't show that part in the documentary.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no shots fired.
They just show the body coming through, but yeah, that's the eventuality. And on that note, also, you want to talk about a crazy thing. How about when the Grand Ribby died? Did you have to work that night?
No, but I heard about it. I heard about it.
Oh my God. That was like big. That was 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I had to work that night.
Oh yeah. Did you go to Queens? Did you go to Queens?
I was in the Queens Task Force. They sent us to Brooklyn when the Grand Ribby died. That was like 100,000 people.
Yeah, and they all want to touch
the coffin at the same time.
Right. Yeah. No,
it was insane.
Yes, absolutely
insane. They didn't care if you were a cop. They just pushed you out of the way. That's one of the things about being a cop in New York. Or any big city for that matter, where this, these type of things happen. It's amazing.
And you wouldn't know. I worked in Brooklyn North as a cop. I worked in Brooklyn North as a cop for 4.5 years in Brooklyn North Task Force. I was in the 7-5 for a little bit for a cup of water, and then I went to the Brooklyn North Task Force. Then I went to the 6-7 in East Flatbush, and I found out what Juve was. I had no idea that this stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's good.
And it's eye opening. But there's all kinds of things like this in the city. There's all kinds of things going on that you would never ever know.
There was a moment where you had a certain amount of time on the job when you got your vacation pics, and you could actually take that week off, even if you had no place to go. You would take the West Indian, like you didn't even want to do it. You didn't even want to save it for your individual pick,
Oh my God! I was
taking a week off, and we're going somewhere. I don't care if we don't have the money, because you were not working that. As soon as you can get out of it, a lot of people don't understand. When you get your vacation pics, the first week that you would look at,
oh my God,
like, when is that West Indian Day parade? I'm not going to that. And then
I would absolutely torture you if you were one of my cops. I volunteered for that. I would volunteer for that. There was nothing more exciting than Juve and the West Indian Day parade to me. I loved it. It was I know it's crazy, but I just
remember being backed up against the barricade, the steel barricade, and they could have taken me and stripped me of my clothes, my uniform, my gun, everything. That's how. I couldn't see anybody. There was not a cop within sight. You couldn't. And then all of a sudden, this wheelbarrow comes up to me, and there's a woman in it, and she jumps out, and she starts dancing in front of me. So then I start dancing with her, and we did that for a minute, and then she got back in the wheelbarrow, and the guy who was controlling the wheelbarrow, he moved her on her way, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm still alive. Okay, good."
Oh, that's great. I got a West Indian Day story for you if you want.
Let me just shout out to Gaspar Ramirez. Thank you so much for that $9.99 super sticker. Mimi J2, MC's Audio. Thank you guys for all your support. He's talking about Juve and the West Indian Day parade. We had Mike Heinrichs on this show, and he was
that's the legend. Yeah.
Oh my God, they called him the General. I think that when he was making first grade detective. A chief that was there said to one of the detectives, he goes, "Who's Audie Murphy?" Because he had that rack about this side. He goes, "I didn't know someone let Audie Murphy in the room."
He's legit. He was in Central Booking when they used to have it in the 8-4 back in the day in Brooklyn. He was going to get something to eat or something like that, and somebody shot him, and he had his vest on, and he ran him down and caught him. Mike Heinrichs was like the cops cop. He was like in I don't know 4 different shootouts.
Well, Dave, he has 2 combat crosses and 2 medals of valor. They would never these days. They would never let you get that many medals. They'd lay you down.
Yeah. That's crazy. But I'm working the West Indian Day parade one day, and I got this guy working with me who's who actually worked with me in Brooklyn North Task Force. So I'm a lieutenant at the time, and I hear shots fired coming over. So it's I forgot who exactly. It's on Franklin and Dean or something like that. I said, "Oh, let's get over there. Let's go over there." So he starts driving like a maniac. I go, "Whoa!" I said, "We're getting there. We're getting there." I said, "We're not." I go, "We're not getting into shootout. The shootout's done. Believe me. If they're calling for help, they're calling 1013, whatever. But we're getting over there. There's definitely shots fired." And he goes, so he gets over there at a timely rate, and he goes, "What are we getting there for?" I go, "Well, to help out and get some more overtime, of course, So, he's like, he goes, "What?" I go, "Just follow me." I come in there within 2 minutes. I got all the cops. You shot. I know you shot. Get over here. Boom. And you appreciate this, Bill, as a boss. I got them all in van. I got the inspector there telling me, "Dave, you got all the guys who shot?" "Yeah, I think I got them all." I get their guns. I'm like, "Yeah, give me your guns." So I got my whole shirt. My whole shirt is like full of guns, and I'm like, so this my guy John is saying, "What are we gonna do now?" I go, "What are we gonna do now? We're gonna give it over to give it to ballistics and crime scene, and they're gonna do all the tests and everything and confiscate the guns. And us, I go, we sit there. We're part of the chain of evidence now. I got to sign off on it. They can't do nothing until I sign off on it. And we got an extra like 10 hours overtime. You know?
You were what was known as an overtime abuser.
Oh my God!
Somebody's got
to do it. It might as well be me. You know.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, Polio 2112, he put up something funny. He said, Mark drinking Red Stripe, talking about the West Indian Day Parade. I didn't realize it, but I am drinking Red Stripe.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah. The market closed early on Easter, and then I had to go to like my local guy here, and then I saw Red Stripe. So I was like, I'll just grab a 6-pack of this.
Yeah, good. Yeah, man. Very good.
Very good. Why not? Right?
I know. Well, all good.
Hey, Dave, you also wrote a book called Blue Christmas, right?
Oh yeah.
I want to tell us about that.
I did a toy drive. It was pretty funny. I you know what? You got to do things like me, like that. Like I'm not like a handsome guy that's gonna like talk you out of your money or whatever, But I'm a little rough, but I'm not that bad. So what I did is we had a kid that decided, we're gonna do a toy drive, and I took it like $1 from everybody, and it went well. We got a bunch of toys and stuff like that. I said, I'm gonna do it again for the next year. So I did it for a few years, and it got up to $5. But people would run from me, and I felt very bad about it. So like after a while, me and some of my guys, we just jump people, and we sometimes we'd rip them off for $5, and we would we would get this money, and at by Christmas Day, I'd have like a whole jail cell full of toys, and I'd have volunteers. They were my elves, and they'd wrap it up, and we just deliver them on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and just give it to all the people. It's just a little.
That's
little
great. Doesn't the SBA still do that now?
Yeah, the SBA. Well, Eddie Mullins, I worked with him in the 6-7 for a little bit. When I came up to the squad, Eddie was there as a squad guy, and this was just before he got promoted to president. And he liked the idea. He saw me do the shakedown, so he kind of took it over because I'm kind of done with it, and he does it. So he does a Blue Christmas, which I don't care who does it. Like if somebody does it, God bless them. Yeah. It's a nice thing. It's a nice thing. It's not like you're trying to change the world, but you just.
It's a great thing. You may change one kid's world.
Right.
No, hey, listen, that's great.
Yeah.
Speaking of shakedowns, Bill, can you post up?
Sure.
I'm doing an album. I'm doing a comedy album. It's called
nice.
Bangers. That's the working title right now. The Bangers, the greatest hits, the classics. Mark DeMeo's. It's going to be great. Trust me. If you haven't seen me live, you're going to love it. I'm doing it at the New York Comedy Club, the East Village location on 4th Street on Sunday, April 25th. We're doing 2 recordings, 7 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. If you go to NewYorkComedyClub.com, you can get tickets. It's nothing. It's $10. Come, please. I need you there. The recording is going to go on Sirius, Spotify, Apple iTunes. The album's going to be available for everybody. But if you're a Patreon subscriber, I'm going to send you the link, and you're going to get it for free, obviously. But it's going to be great. This is, trust me, you'll love it.
That wasn't so bad. That was pretty good, in fact. We have to also, any of you guys that are listening to us in the super chat, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. And if you're not a Patreon member, we have 3 levels of Patreon. For $7 a month, you're the bucket. For $9 a month, you get to polish my rack. And for $11 a month, you get to dip them in butter. And that's the premiere. And you get extra content. You come on our Patreon site. Mark's putting comedy on there. We're putting all kinds of stuff up there. We even talk to you. If you want to call us up, it's like we're like blue comics.
No, Bill has a great show that he does. Bill has a true crime show that he's doing. It's kicking ass. I mean, these people.
So I just want to mention tomorrow. I'm so excited about this show. I have Tommy Dades on with Larry Mazza, and Tommy Dades grew up in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. Larry Mazza grew up in Gravesend. Tommy Dades became a hero detective. Larry Mazza became a hitman for the Colombo crime family.
Oh, really?
And they've remained friends after all these years. Larry Mazza did 10 years in prison, even though he killed 4 people. And so he's out, and they're still buddies. It's going to be a fascinating hour and 15, hour and a half, whatever we decide to do.
Yeah, Tommy Dades, yeah, I know Tommy very well. And
it starts tomorrow night at 8:00 on YouTube Live.
Yeah, he is a great detective. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, excellent. He's a mob expert too.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm doing my. I finished the 30-day challenge. I got involved in Wim Hof 30-day cold shower challenge. I'm up to 8.
You did that?
Yeah, I'm up to 8. Today's my 32nd day. I'm up to 8 minutes right now. I want to get to 10, and then I'm going to the ocean. I'm jumping in by myself. But if there's anybody else that wants to go to the ocean right now, I'm available. If you want, I'm going in for 10 minutes. I got it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. But I'm gonna be doing that video and tell you about what the 30-day experience was like. I did it. I'm alive to tell you, and it's gonna be cool. You'll learn a lot. I learned a lot, so I want to share it with our subscribers.
That's awesome.
Mark, you should video yourself jumping into the ocean.
I will. When that happens, I will. I want to go in now or very close to now while it's still, the water's still really cold. Because, I mean, well, you know.
What would the point be?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how cold the ocean is different right now, but when I go into the shower right now, I put it on like as cold as it can go. Like it doesn't, otherwise I'm shutting off the shower. And then I go in there for 8 minutes.
Do you put it on cold right away, or do you
yeah, that's the only one way you can do it. You got to face that challenge, man. Well, you remember when you were talking about getting hit in the face?
Yeah.
That was one of the most interesting times when I was involved in boxing and I was trying to like figure out if this is something I want to do. There's something about getting hit in the face that it's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to hit me in the face? I get hit in the face every day. It's just, and that's what it's like doing the cold showers in a way, because it's like, what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do to me that's any worse than going into, because there's not been one day in 32 days that I have been in the mood for it. Every day sucks.
Mark, someone said, Mark, you'll be talking like a lady when you're done because your balls will be all shriveled up in your throat. And that was a comment by a woman.
They definitely. But you know what? If you can get your breathing right, they actually start hanging a little bit. Is controlling your breathing under any circumstance. And every cop should have to know this going into the academy. It's about controlling your breathing. So you're in control of the situation because everything is about breathing.
Yeah, I agree.
Once your breathing gets into it, like they had this guy, he's a tall guy, he's a super heavyweight in the UFC, a heavyweight, Adamir, whatever, but he went to Wim Hof too. But it's good. It's good for breathing. In the time of crisis, what you have to do is get your breathing under control.
My son's been doing it for a couple of years now, and he got a lot of other people to do it, and they all do it. Danny Neeson, his father Liam, does it, and
that's why I promote it too, because it helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And listen, this is what this show is about. It's just about helping people.
That's right.
You got arthritis like me, you got allergies, it knocks it right out, man. I mean, I would be normally I would be suffering right now. I'm suffering a quarter of the amount. But this time of year with my arthritis, I've been to the doctor. They told me I have arthritis like a 8-year-old person. My knees, and I just go in there in the cold shower. It knocks it out.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
that's excellent. Dave, we're going to be wrapping this up. Any final thoughts?
Just if you're interested in going to this Destination Smoker, that includes you two, I'm gonna announce it after I go to Colombia in May. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna set it up. I'll announce it when we're gonna go there. I don't know exactly. I'd have to I'd have to, make it up with the thing. We will be bringing smokers back as soon as the government allows. The city and the state. We're under the governor and mayor right now, so we really can't do nothing. And it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I left the police department, but I haven't left. They haven't left my heart. So we will do smokers.
You'll be back instigating again.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing it more from like StreamYard type stuff, where I get all three phases.
Stirring up the pot.
Yeah. You want me to practice with you too?
Well, Dave, promise that you'll come back on the show. We'd definitely love to have you come back.
Well, hopefully when I have something good to tell you.
Yeah, with some updates on the smokers and all of this
If
stuff.
you listen, you can plug it on here. If you got two boxes that need to, two cops that need to, for some reason, straighten something out, bring them on here.
Yeah, maybe you guys could escalate it a little bit more than I can.
Yeah.
We definitely shit stirrers, that's for sure.
Oh, that's what we need. Yeah, absolutely.
Bill loves to stir the pot too.
Yeah, that's right. Are we done?
I think so, man.
I think we're done.
I just want to give a shout out to Gaspar Ramirez, Rebecca Hicks, obviously Peter Prenzo, Tim Costa, so many people, Sandra Rivera, so everybody that tunes in, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. From Police Off the Cuff, Mark DeMeo, Bill Cannon. Thank you guys for supporting us.
Thanks, Dave.
Dave Siev.
You're
the
always
man.
back.
I hope we'll see you back soon. Good night, everyone.
This was fun.
Yeah.